stream because we get like no views on the stream, but recording we do. So we're recording. Let's go to the sky.
Sure.
Woo!
Let's go. Have a really quick recap first. I mean, last session was very short.
It's incredibly short. Like, what did we even do?
And it rains. Sarah, go for it.
Yeah, pretty quick. So last time we began with Demos going through a bit of a crisis. One might dare even say a midlife crisis of being king and also a god of strength and not really having a purpose, struggling being the ruler, but also not being able to get his like physical outlet since sparring with people is essentially bullying them these days. So that was an interesting thing. We sort of did a little drive-by on before going to Artemisia, who had a conversation with Echo, assigning her on her first assignment to go up into the Heartlands, search for signs of the Red Dragon, and report back via Setting Stone. Invoke our name if you have to, but for the most part, prioritize your own safety and stealthiness, and make progress as you can. Then we cut over to Darius, who flew to Typhon Island, and then intending on freeing Eudora's father, the man who was cursed, saving him, 5 centuries ago. Found that he was already free, and that the Cerberus itself was a prisoner of Lutheria. So he destroyed the rock that it was bound to protect, and then it promptly ran away, which was cool. And then Darius and Darethexel plane shifted back to the Heartlands and decided just to camp out for a little bit, since we might see signs of the Red ourselves, or Echo might have something to report, and that'd be kind of silly to fly all the way back to Mitros just to fly all the way back here, especially when Darethexel was already exhausted. And so we just sort of hung out and bonded for a bit, and then got ambushed by a phoenix and 2 eagles. And here we are.
Yeah, basically. And then we cut the session short because all the tokens I prepared had vanished because apparently I didn't save. But now we're here. And you know what? We're just going to roll initiative.
All right.
The 3 creatures, all of them birds, one of them, covered in flaming fire, definitely charge at you with intent.
I cannot add myself to initiative.
Why not?
Again.
Probably
because I dropped a token. I'd sort of written some notes for my prepared thing, but didn't really expect to need it.
Okay.
So then I had to update that once it was very clear I need it.
I've changed your macro. You should now be able to do it.
Okay. I'm in.
All these. Sword. And Darius gets to act first.
Wonderful. And all my people go on the same turn as me. So I did a little pre-mapping just in case that happened. So somewhere around here is where I want to start flying. I'm going to take Darethexel's turn first, and then use... So just to clarify, if I do a breath weapon, it goes through the Phoenix and hits this giant eagle too. I'm expecting the Phoenix to be immune, but it will still hit the eagle, right? It won't absorb through the Phoenix or anything like that?
No.
Cool. So we'll do 30-foot fire breath as her action. Like so. Take a dexterity saving throw, please.
They sure will.
Fail.
I selected all of them and just one of them did it. Okay. Success. And that's a success.
Yes. All right, so 57 fire damage to this one in the back, and 28 to the giant eagle. 4, and I'm assuming none for the phoenix.
The phoenix takes no damage. It is true. The eagles, however, do take a brunt of the damage. Enough, in fact, to dispel their shapes.
Ah.
With that, I mean that they basically light up in a flame and then shift into a vastly different form, which is perhaps slightly more confounding. As they are instead replaced by 2 centaurs.
I was going to call it.
Who appear to be riding in the skies just fine.
They can, they're just like magical flying horses.
Basically, yeah, they are riding across the currents here. There's definitely some magic that they've got going on.
That's a hilarious mental image.
Very cool. All right. So that's Dareth Axel. Let me just clear out this drawing. There we go. For Darius, I don't know what they have, but I'm gonna assume there's some. Do they have any weapons? These druids?
Yes. Perhaps describing them is sort of perhaps too much for the heat of combat, but they do seem to be armed quite heavily, in fact. They've got pikes slung over their shoulders and very large ornate bows that they are basically now sort of reaching towards as their bird selves have been dispelled. So
Gotcha.
they've got bows and pikes. Although, of course, the magic suggests that those are alternatives at best.
Yeah. Still, for now, I'll give bardic inspiration to Dareth Axel with epic resistance to piercing damage. And then I will cast Wall of Force around Mr. Phoenix.
Wall of Force.
Yes.
How does that work in the air?
It can doesn't matter. It can be in the sky.
Okay, it can be free floating. You can form it into a hemispherical dome or sphere with a radius of up to 10 feet.
Yeah. So I would like to do a radius that includes Mr. Phoenix exclusively.
Right. The wall also extends into the ethereal plane, blocking ethereal travel through the wall. Okay. What a spell that is, huh?
It's very good. That's why my eyes lit up hungrily when I saw that Chandra's had it.
I feel like evocation is not correct though.
It is evocation, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
the creation of energy.
Oh.
It's an energy
Oh,
wall.
nope, that's not a cone. That's the breath.
No one's Demogorgon could put in one and then shot to death.
that was a false cage.
Well, same thing, basically.
Yeah. And then just sort of call out to them, what are you playing at? I'm sure you've had red dragon troubles, but you can see that we're much smaller.
They don't seem to be super willing to talk right now.
Okay.
Anything else?
Action, bonus action. Already got an action from Dareth Axel. I don't think she has bonus action. No. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. The Phoenix can't do a whole lot.
Oh, if they wild shaped, does the extra damage like surplus to the bird
Yes.
forms that gets
I've already
Okay.
done that.
okay, cool.
No, that's not too much. Can be done here. Phoenix just gonna hang out for now.
Okay.
The Druids, however, They've got a few tricks. But because they're spells, it'll take me a moment.
No worries. I gotta mark off my own spells used. Ah, what?
Darius explodes. Right, the druid here, to your north, will take some distance,
Mhm.
moving through the air with surprising speed,
Mhm.
and will then turn around and with a gesture of her hands cause the air around Darfexel and Darius to lash out.
I see you getting out of counterspell range.
Each creature in that area, which is Darfexel, Darius, and Juniper too, I guess, give me a con save.
Juniper's probably screwed no matter what. Come on. Yep. Con. Oh my god, is that it now? No, it's a 3. Yikes.
It's a DC 15.
Okay, so it's 2 fails. And then. Oh my god.
All right. All of you take 14 bludgeoning damage as the air just lashes out.
Bludgeoning. Okay, that's not the end of the world. So Juniper's gone. And dead.
I believe a concentration check.
Oh, yes. I'm going to blow my 10. Guarantee it.
All right. This guy. We should do the same. Is Darius wearing metal armor by chance?
Let me see, because he did take off the Xander
breastplate
armor.
off, didn't you?
Yeah, but I replaced it with leather. No, he's not.
Well, that's a shame. All right. She will move over here and
That
cast
would have
a
been deadly.
spell on Darafexel.
Uh-huh.
Darafexel, please give me a strength saving throw.
Do I know what spell this is?
You could give me a quick Arcana check
Sure, I will do that.
as a reaction. I believe that's how it's generally done.
As a reaction, you say?
Yes.
In that case, I'll just blow my reaction on counterspell instead.
Sure. You counterspell the spell.
Okay.
Darius.
Hang on, just noting 3rd level spell slot gone. Okay. It was this one that took more damage beforehand, right?
No, this one.
That one? Okay.
Yes.
Need to pick them off as fast as I can while the Phoenix just hangs out. All right, we're gonna charge. Ooh, I can get there. And
If you're going to charge, you have to end at the closest square adjacent to her.
I'm not. I don't think 5e actually has a literal charge. I just moving.
It doesn't have a charge.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay. Sure.
Yeah,
then you
so,
can just.
Yeah, I'm just moving as much as my movement will allow in a generally that way direction.
Only certain creatures that do it.
Yeah. Makes 3 attacks: 1 with its bite, 2 with its claws. Bam, bam, bam. Hang on. That first bite. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't think we get our multi-attacks. Because
oh, right, the dragon.
Yeah. I was just going to bring up the player guide again, but I'm pretty sure we only get a single attack from them.
Single breath weapon and 1 when
we don't get the multi-attack.
All right, cool. That's okay. Darathaxel will use her bardic inspiration on the fight, which is a 6, bringing it to 17.
That is a miss.
Oh my god. All right. Then for
the centaur does not seem fighting like this in this arguably strange situation for a centaur. It does not seem unusual. It appears to be something that the centaur is trained for, and also her skin has like it's thicker than it should be. There's definitely a lot of magic at work here.
Gotcha. Okay. Thicker than it should be, you say. I'm going to take a gamble and cast Sleeping Draught, but upcast it to a 6th level. Does she have 88 hit points or less?
She most definitely has.
She does have 88 or less?
Yes.
She falls unconscious.
Cool.
Goodbye.
Oh, and that's not even concentration.
Nope.
That's brutal.
Does the centaur start falling?
Yeah, she gets drowsy, starts losing consciousness, and then starts dropping.
Whee!
Yeah, I'm assuming you're like a good 100 feet at least over the air, so that's gonna be a nasty fall.
Yeah. I mean, however high they were, and then we met up or launched up to meet them, so probably half to maybe a third of the distance between. Yeah, up to you. 100 feet sounds maybe about right.
Yeah, let's say 100. Nice round number.
Cool. So she's out, at least for now, and will take a bunch of damage and have to come back up if she wants. And then Bardic to Darathaxel again with resistance to bludgeoning.
All right.
Now she's going to take out the bow and shoot me.
There's still nothing the Phoenix can do here in the false cage. Good. She won't reach the ground in this round, I believe, but next one. But she's basically out.
Goodbye.
Which is of course awful for her. She's gonna get a bit closer. And then do that. She's gonna try the thing again. Okay, maybe con saves. Darathaxel and Darius. The same thing as before, as the wind suddenly picks up just around you.
Okay, damn, just out of counterspell range. Con saves, you say?
Yes.
Constitution. 14, fail, and 15.
15 is a success. If you succeeded, you take half of this. Otherwise, you take 12 bludgeoning damage.
Okay, so Darathaxel takes. We're both resistant because I share her resistances. So she takes. Or no, I take 6. She takes 3. So damage. And another con save. Oh, and I can't rig this. This is scary. 12.
Yeah,
Okay.
That is a success.
Okay.
Then it's your turn.
Most important thing I need to do. Trance. There we go. Just add that to my list of numbers. And since we still have a bardic going, I could also use healing word on. Maybe I want to save that. Bonus actions. I'll do Darren Axel's turn while I think about it, because it's pretty clear what she's doing. Here. And but 24.
That's a hit.
24 piercing and 6 fire damage.
All right, it's going to be 30 damage. That certainly bothers the centaur.
Mm-hmm. And then for my bonus action, Dareth was doing okay. I'm just going to top myself up with a healing word at. Actually, you know what? No, I will. I'll upcast it to 2nd level if I can find it. But yeah, you can move on while I do that.
Right.
9 hit points.
The phoenix creature at this point has basically landed on the bottom of the floating force sphere and is shooting flaming daggers at Darius, watching the proceedings here.
They bounce off the wall.
Yes, she will hit the ground. And all right. Yeah, this is not a great situation. She's gonna cast a spell on Derek Axel again. Give me a strength saving throw now.
Counter spell.
All right, you've got a spell. In that case, she's going to use a bonus action to turn back into a bird. Your turn.
Yeah, gonna just keep smacking birds. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll do Dareth Axel first. 23 for 15 piercing and 1 fire.
That hits. The bird lets out a shriek, but looks at you defiant.
Question for you, Sheep. If
Yes.
I cast Sleeping Draught, does that go off the eagle's hit points now that it's an eagle?
That's a good question. The target creature's few. Suppose it would.
Okay, I'm just gonna do its base 2nd level ability here.
Although this would be a situation where it would say that it doesn't seem right, does it?
Completely your call. I don't know.
I would reference like the
yeah, sleep versus wild shape. Maybe there's an answer.
Let me take a look. Sleeping during wild shape is something different.
Wild shape ends if you're knocked unconscious. So if the sleep spell knocks you unconscious, wild shape ends. Well, that's interesting. But that's not what we were looking for.
Well, I mean, it's current hit points.
Yeah, current. Yeah, it's a bird. It has bird hit points.
Yeah.
Cool. And also apparently immediately becomes a centaur again if it passes out.
Apparently.
So this might be worth overkilling actually, just to make sure that it works. So I'll do a 4th level sleeping draught. $66.
That'll certainly be enough to sleep the bird.
And then the centaur starts falling.
Yeah, it assumes the beast's hit points. So it takes over the hit points of the beast.
Now the bird is asleep. All right. Yeah, Phoenix is still captured. She is out of the fight. The bird's gonna start falling. At this point, I'm gonna tell you that initiative is in your court because there's not much the Phoenix can do against your force gauge here.
Mm-hmm. I think Dareth Axel flies up and lands on top of the force cage, like claws digging into the top surface of it, and just like, like down at the Phoenix, just trying to be intimidating.
It does not care one bit. It returns the look of both you and the dragon with definitely an intelligence and defiance.
Mm-hmm. How I'll just chill for a bit and watch the birds. Do they, or the centaurs? Take a look at their bodies on the ground. Are they toast?
The first one appears to have gotten up and basically is retreating at this point. Same for the second one. They survive with like a few hit points each.
Right, but they're not planning on coming back.
No, it doesn't appear so. They seem to not retreat like fully, but like taking a respectable distance.
Gotcha.
We're talking a few hundred feet here.
Mm-hmm. Fuck it, I'm feeling bold. I'm gonna trance again, as is my right from being a 6th level cleric. So I will get 2 more numbers to play
Give me
with.
a perception check, though.
Okay. Perception, you say? Oh, wait, I should have advantage on that. Let me roll again. $25.
Okay, 25 is pretty good. Yeah, maybe you're not. You're looking like what the two centaurs that have fallen are doing, and while they are retreating, it's true. At this distance, you can see that they're starting to like ready their longbows, waiting for you to be distracted.
Okay, I can hold this wall of force for 10 minutes. So can I just want to go pick them off and finish them while the Phoenix is trapped.
Sure, they'll probably get like one attack each or one round of attacks each before you can get there, but you can absolutely do that. They can't really. Well,
Not me.
They're slightly slower than their attacks, is the thing.
Yeah, so with dash actions and all that.
They'll get like one round of attacks each, I'd say.
Okay, cool.
And their attacks are not terrible with their bows. 1 and 2, these will be aiming at Darius, ideally. 1 and 2.
Hang on, wait. I would like to rig them, if that's okay.
Oh, sure. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, 5 and 8. Which the 8 is actually worse, or actually slightly better, so that would make that a 12. But the first one would become a 9. So 9 and 12 both miss me.
Okay.
I defy them, and then go in for the kill. And actually, you know what? I would like to, once I knock them out, Dareth Axel is going to grab, just like snatch them out of the air, and basically hold one centaur neck in each claw, and then I fly back to the Phoenix.
Sure.
Holding 2 centaurs, looking over at it, say, "Unless you want my partner to be snacking on some bird tonight, I suggest you start talking." And she then, Dareth Axel will then like grip tighter on the neck of the unconscious centaurs.
The Phoenix creature narrows its eyes and stays silent.
Snap one of the necks and drop the body onto the ground. That's 1. Can I make an intimidate check?
Sure.
Would Dareth Axel's actions count as the help action?
Sure. Although I will honestly tell you, the result of an intimidate check by you specifically is not going to matter.
Okay. Interesting. I'll give it a whirl anyway. 24.
Yeah. It does appear that this creature knows what you, maybe not Darrow specifically, but you as a general term are all about, and nothing you're doing is anything that she would not have expected.
Oh, fair enough. Fuck it. I cast Spirit Guardians. And the Wall of Force, so I presume it will get back to my turn
Yes.
Yeah.
You still have the initiative.
We will cast Spirit Guardians, excluding Dareth Axel and myself, as the spectral Dragonlords from the past join me, and the Wall of Force drops. And then Dareth Axel will move in. So Spirit Guardians. It's pretty mean. It's like the first time you enter and also start on your turn. First time on a turn, or starts its turn there. Makes a DC 17 Wisdom save.
I'm assuming it does not pass through the Wall of Force, though. Oh, you're dispelling it. Okay.
It's concentration, so the wall drops.
Sure.
Right. So yeah, DC 17 Wisdom save, please.
That's a fail.
So it takes 16
that's
radiant
not the right
damage.
bonus, but she will roll. Yeah, okay. 16 damage.
It is radiant if it's resistant or immune to radiant damage.
It is not immune to radiant damage.
Okay. Then Dareth Axel will immune to. Hang on one sec. Just want to see, is bite without fire still better than claw? D6 plus. It is. So yeah, we'll go for a bite attack.
That is a miss.
Okay.
The creature dodges expertly, and I can tell you it's going to leave. It's got a fly speed of 130 feet.
I cast haste on Dareth Axel.
You're gonna chase. All right.
I'm gonna chase.
And it'll basically spend move and standard action to go like 260 feet that way. What's Dareth Axel's speed with haste?
Dareth Axel is 80 feet, so 260. So move and haste dash would get me 160. Then a regular action would get 240. So I'd be ever so slightly slower if Dareth Axel goes full tilt, but I also have ranged attacks. So anyway, let me just check haste again, make sure I'm getting that right.
No. So until the spell ends.
The spell and the target speed's doubled as well.
So you also get another action which you can use to dash. So you can dash twice, and the speed is doubled. So you have 160 feet.
So I can definitely outrun it.
So you have like 320.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. That's the best part. Oh, hang on. Nope, that's fly. Hang on. Yeah, speed double. So 160 base speed. So move dash would be enough, and then Dareth Axel could still get regular attacks in.
Move, dash, and regular attack. All right. It's basically going to be a round of the Phoenix tries to get away, but through you cast haste, Dareth Axel catches up and gets to do an attack.
I also still have bonus action. But I don't think I have anything that I could do with that. So yeah, so I cast haste. Dareth Axel comes up and we'll go for the bite. 26.
That is a miss. Dervaxel has disadvantage.
She has disadvantage?
Yes, the Phoenix appears to basically have an idea of what's coming and manages to dodge out of the way.
Oh, interesting.
All right.
Okay, well, that's that.
The Phoenix is surprised. It's gonna turn around and cast a spell as a incredibly brilliant flash of sunlight.
Counterspell.
Okay, I mean, give me a roll. This is not a 3rd level or lower spell.
I'm going to. So what is it? It's my all that stuff. I'm gonna burn my 12s. So we'll do the thing here. And I rolled. Oh, I actually rolled a 13. So it's one less than that. That's unfortunate. 18.
18, and the DC is 10 plus the spell level?
Correct.
Then it is exactly enough.
Okay. I really wish that I had prepared a Cone of Cold. That would have been nice.
Let's see, that doesn't matter. It's worth noting that the Phoenix is emitting a heat that, if you weren't immune, would probably be rather painful.
Too bad that it decided to ambush the only part of the squad that is immune to fire.
All right, but that will be its action. Darius.
I have to maintain concentration on. I didn't try to flee this turn.
No, it turned around and cast a spell.
Oh right, I can't. Right, of course, I cast a spell. So I need to keep. So Darathaxel will get 2 actions then. So we're going to go for 2 bites. 26, even with disadvantage.
That one's a hit.
I was intending to help, but then I forgot to say it. So I'll just, yeah, that's okay. Next time I will try to remember. And then what do I have? Yeah, melee is not my strong suit. You know what? Oh no, that's concentration. Booming blade is fire, yeah. Oh no, it's thunder damage. Cool. I'm just gonna take out my Zyphos and or my Mithril Zyphos and try to slash at it. Probably not gonna happen, but yeah.
That is a miss.
Can't do much about a 3.
It's gonna try that again. It appears to be trying something similar. Again, from it coalescing a brilliant flash of light. Is there going to be another
Counterspell with
counterspell?
with the 16 this time.
All right. Give me a roll.
Yep. Or just tell you. Oh wow, twice in a row. So actually -1 from that. 22.
That is certainly enough.
Should learn to rely on my rolls.
The Phoenix's gaze has it's still that defiance. It definitely seems like it wasn't retreating because it was scared, but because that seemed like the thing it had decided to do. But now it has changed its mind. It doesn't appear to be pulling all the stops, mostly testing what happens if.
Interesting.
Darius, it's your turn.
I will use the help action on Darathaxel to negate her disadvantage on the first bite attack, and then go for 2 bites.
That's a miss.
So hang on, nope. Darathaxel will burn the Bardic.
Okay.
So 21.
21 hits.
Okay. Second is a 26.
That one's a miss.
Oh right, disadvantage, right?
Disadvantage.
So 14 piercing damage. And then I will. I actually don't know what this thing can do. He said he was trying to do sunlight, right?
Yes.
Okay, Bardic versus Radiant.
All right.
I cannot keep up the counter spells.
It appears very much aware of that. It's going to. Let's see. The spell is tricky one. All right. It's gonna cast a spell. Do a counter spell. It's not quite as flashy as what it tried to do before.
Yeah, I'll use a 4th level slot on it.
Okay, give me a roll.
Okay, can't rig this one. 24.
That's enough. That's most definitely enough. All right. Mark that off.
Okay, help and 2 bites. Oh, I'm not even gonna burn the Bardic on that one. Oh my god.
Miss and miss. It dodges.
You know what? I will on the second one. So. Oh, it's actually an 8. Cool. So 22.
22 hits.
Okay, and then last Bardic to redo Radiant Resistance.
Well, in a duel of magical prowess, how much more does Darius have here? Because I can tell you, there's more coming.
Oh yeah, he has not much other than a 7th level spell slot in reserve to teleport out of there. I do have like some magical items and stuff, but it's also very bad if haste goes down. So we may be getting out of here pretty soon.
All right. The Phoenix is going to cast a spell, surprisingly enough.
Yep, can't do anything about it.
All right, then Darifax will give me a strength save.
Oh my
Say
god.
DC 18.
Fail.
The Phoenix cast a lovely spell called Earthbind.
I knew it. I knew that was.
The target must succeed on a strength saving throw, or its flying speed is reduced to 0 feet for the spell's duration. An airborne creature affected by the spell safely descends at 60 feet per round until it reaches the ground or the spell ends.
Okay.
Darius, suppose on the start of your turn, Darius would fall 60 feet. Or
Yeah,
descend at least.
Safely descend. So, for the purposes of Earthbind, did it target? Is it you can't fly, or a force is pulling you to the ground?
It is its flying speed, if any, is reduced to 0 feet.
So if I cast Fly on Darth Axel, will that work?
Well, the fly speed would still be 0. Because it's for the duration.
Yeah, it's phrased like its flying speed is reduced to 0 feet. It's not reduced by anything. It's just set to 0 feet.
Okay, cool. In that case, I will drop haste, which will cause her to go into the lethargy. But she's safely descending anyway this round. And I'll take out the Boreal Harp and summon 6 flying frogs. No, I mean however many flying beasts I can get away with.
Well, you tell me the challenge rating, and I'll tell you.
8 flying beasts of challenge rating 1/4. Oh no, it's got. You said it had like a fire aura thing, right?
Yes.
Let's do 1 of CR2.
CR2. That can't be all of them. See, the spell was Conjure Animals. No, that was the wrong one. God damn it. Okay.
Ooh, actually, sorry. Is it too late to take this back in favor of a cool story move?
No, if it's really cool,
Okay.
go for it.
So deciding that, yes, it's time to get out of here. Stare up at the Phoenix as we're safely descending. It's like, but first, I have not gathered enough information, and I will cast Detect Thoughts and make it roll a 1.
Detect Thoughts. Okay.
As I go for the secondary effect of prying into its mind.
That is concentration. You would drop haste.
Yes. So, but we're safely descending anyway. We're not falling.
It is true.
And I will give. You know what? I will take it myself. I'll give 8 temporary hit points from using divination magic.
And it is within 30 feet. So you basically catch like one round of a glimpse, perhaps.
Sure.
But then you drift out of range as the Aravexel descends.
Cool. Yeah, so if it fails, you gain insight into its reasoning, its emotional state, and something that looms large in its mind. So why is it doing this? What is it feeling? What's pressing in its head?
I think what Darius is receiving here is a focused, intense thought of enmity. You are an enemy. There's well, pardon the pun, I suppose, a burning anger, not directed at Darius himself or Darifexus specifically, but what he represents.
Oh, interesting. Is it like ideological, or is it racist, or what it? When it says I'm an enemy, is it like an enemy of the faith, or an enemy like I hate all dragons, or?
Give me an insight check. Sort of reaching the boundaries of what this spell does, but I'll give you that.
We know that this is a kind of interrogation he's done before. 19.
It's hard to tell. There's definitely a deep-rooted what's the word? It's deep-rooted. It's not something that was decided on the spot. It's been a while since the reasons for that were likely perpetrated. It doesn't seem like racist or anything. There seems to be it does seem to be more in the ideological sort of sense.
So this is not a hunter, it's a zealot.
Yeah.
All right. Dareth Axel can't do anything because of haste ending. So that's the end of my turn.
The Phoenix creature is basically content to just hover for the moment, observing Darius as he slowly drifts towards the bottom, and will probably opt not to do much.
All right, I give it one last look as it's out of the range of my thing, and give it almost a bit of a grin, and then cast teleport, and I will think of the Metrosian teleport chamber that Demos had me get very familiar with. The teleport landing room.
All right. It's not going to count as well.
It's not in range.
It cannot. Darius can teleport away.
Cool. So D100. 13. Ooh.
13. I mean, you're very familiar, which means you land in a similar area. You probably land like in some noble's mansion, which has a like ballroom that is sort of similar. But you still land in Mitros. It's close enough.
Apologies. You can send the bill to the palace. Right, fly away to the palace.
All right, but combat will obviously be over.
Yeah, it seems like a good point to cut over to another character.
Just cuts to Artemisia and the Dragonlords thing, like reading a scroll and sipping on some tea.
Lovely.
You see Demos in a meeting. His head in his hand as a scholar is talking about, the benefits of updating the sewage system to prepare for heavier rainfall in the coming years, given the unpredictability of the weather now that Sidon's, something like that. As we can see, there's he has a, one of those like a wooden stand with papers that he can sort of flip over the edge, sort of like a proto PowerPoint. And he has written in the side, it says 233 out of 602. There's no pictures, just text.
Oh no.
A day in the life of Demos.
I mean, nothing else is going on at the moment.
At least for the next short term, like the next day or so. There's nothing going to be suddenly happening. So yeah, I mean, you tell me what you want to do.
I suppose until one of the mansions in the noble district just suddenly blows up with Dareth Hexel flying out of it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a commotion. I don't think that would be unusual enough for Demos to actually hear about it, because it's Dragonlords. They do things. That's just probably official business.
There's a Metrosian tabloid that illustration like Dragonlord Darius leaving X mansion, disheveled.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Yes.
Why would we speculate about the scandal?
Yeah. Yeah. The Titan magazine for zealots. Yeah, I think he'd probably cast Sending and ask Artemisia to come meet him and Demos at the throne room or whatnot. Unexpected encounter might be a problem.
Artemisia just groans because she has to fly all the way to Mitros. But through the reply, so he knows. And then goes.
The response is just,
Yep.
Yeah, I'll fill you guys in on everything that happened.
Sure. When Darius gets to the palace, it's a little while longer, like an hour later or something.
Mm-hmm.
The throne room, the vast golden throne room, it's sort of mostly dark. There's like a couple of torches. He can hear like a thumping sound. When he goes in there, he sees the king having like a ball or something, but he's just sort of throwing at a wall and then bouncing back and catching it, throwing at the wall again. So it bounces back and catches it.
The wall is like slowly denting every time you do it.
Yeah, it's like he's not breaking anything, and that probably takes the fun out of it too.
Yeah.
You have to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just if he sees Darius come in, he just sort of his face lights up. Just Darius, and then he throws him the ball.
Oh God! I cast shield. One day, Demos, perhaps I would like to get back into the gym with you, but I'm gonna need some warning.
About the gym. Darius,
before
not
gestures to the ball.
that's what I figure. So, yes, perhaps we're all getting a bit rusty, I suppose.
Yes, perhaps not for
Been
long.
a year,
We
something like that, since we freed this city and freed Kentamane.
Well, perhaps we won't have to wait for very long.
To the Golden Throne. Just sort of ignoring Darius trying to get his attention. Grabbing a bottle, or like a decanter, I guess. There's a wine. I have a couple of extra cups here somewhere. Like a blow on it, wipe it a little with his elbow, and then.
You know what? Why not? Yes. I've asked Artemisia to come meet us here, but probably going to take her a little bit. Have a drink while we wait.
Artemisia, since we're all getting together. It's someone's birthday.
Well, unfortunately, she has the Sending Stone now, so I couldn't get a message to Ariad, but she probably wants to spend some time with Argan anyway, so perhaps we can bother about this tomorrow.
He was just likely worried he forgot someone's birthday. As he pours some wine for Darius and then himself.
All right. I will drink with Demos until while we wait.
It is clear to Darius that Demos is bored.
Oh, yeah.
Has been for a while now, and that this is an interesting thing, Darius has his attention, and
Oh yeah, I'll regale him the tales of the Phoenix and the challenge it may represent even someone like Demos.
Oh, Phoenix, they're known for being terrible, vile creatures, enemies of all good civilization.
Well, it certainly regards us the same way. He was planning on waiting for Artemisia to be there, but just needed to give the poor boy some excitement.
It's coming for us, though.
Well, it may perhaps have just not liked that I landed in its neighborhood, though I suspect that's not the case. It may have been hunting us and waiting for an opportunity for one of us to be alone. I'm just glad that it was me. It radiated a lot of heat, and thanks to Dareth Axel, we didn't really take any of it. But I don't know if the rest of you would be as lucky.
Suppose we'll have to find out.
Indeed. Or despite having enough defenses against it, I wasn't quite enough to defeat it on my own. Although I did give it quite a show, if I do say so myself. Its companions all died. Well, it stood inside a sphere and couldn't do anything but watch.
He looks at Darius and says, "It's cold."
It was quite warm, in fact.
I meant, never mind. No, of course I will go with you.
We were ambushed, Demos. I had to be ruthless.
Dareth Axel nods proudly and says, "It was very efficient."
You were rather impressive with those centaur druids. It took them out very quickly. I just held the big boy at bay for a moment.
I don't belong in the skies.
Yes. It was very strange.
That's begins sort of pacing a little bit, downs his cups. It's all right. So I suppose we have to wait for Artemisia then, and then we're going. Yeah.
Oh, perhaps tomorrow I need a rest. Probably don't want to fight it at night. And there's also that dragon still there. But yes, we should go take a look.
It's going to take days to fly there across the plains. We're going to have to plan a route.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe supplies, send some runners ahead to Astoria.
Well, whatever you see fit best, Your Majesty. See, looking at him saying like, "Oh, Demas has a mission again. This is good. Let him figure out the logistics of an advance, a military advance."
Let's just nod. Just I don't think he even has to like offer Darius a room. Darius has a room here. I think we could just.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Um,
I assume at this point I'm essentially functioning as your archmage.
Yeah, you live here.
But with, kind of just come and go sometimes.
Yeah. Yes. That's just not really keep track of who Darius. No one could. You're a free agent. It's, you're a guest of the house.
You're too kind.
Realm. Yeah. No, Demas will go off and have a message drafted that we should go to Astoria to hear what they know of these beasts. They know centaurs and such, Maybe they know something about this. Then we'll meet there and then strike out to see if we can find news across the plains.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, and Nora might know something.
She's been spending so much time just lacing around, getting cleaned and well fed and washed. She must be bored by now. So sure, she would love to go on a long trip across the plains.
I guess Artemisia arrives after several hours.
Is it so quick? Hours?
It's not that far.
Yeah, it's not
especially in the air.
I imagine that he can pretty much just soar down over the.
Seraph, your fan.
Fans.
Oh, sorry.
Back with a vengeance.
It didn't do anything differently. What happened?
I don't know. It just suddenly decided to transmit.
I mean, junk like woodlands produce decent updrafts. So it's a good soaring location between Mitros and the base.
Actually, isn't a scale on the map as far as I can see.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, there's no scale, but I can give you a rough idea.
I think I put like.
See if we look at the if we look at the world map here, then Astoria to Mitros, like the way would close. Be it's about 20 miles. Like on foot, you would take maybe a day to get there. So like straight up flying it's not that long, really.
Oh, that's 20 miles.
Yeah.
So I think I put.
Yeah, and then Sour Vintage is like here, right? So
the Sour Vintage, I believe.
Oh, it's this one.
Should be here, yeah.
Yeah, and I put the new base to the north of it. So those are very similar lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it'll take a few hours flight, but not that long.
Yeah. I think that's pretty good.
30 kilometers. Yeah. All right.
Not far.
It's not far at all.
No. So a few hours, and she can arrive.
I'll repeat the story.
Okay, yeah, then we'll need to find Echo. She's already out there. Hunting. So finding out what she knows would be good. But yeah, as soon as possible.
Well, I was very much in the heat of combat. If we're lucky, maybe she was in the area and saw something from a farther perspective.
Perhaps. I do not know which direction she chose to go from. Yeah,
You have a
not
sending
been.
stone with her, right?
I sent one, yeah, with her. Yeah.
So we could just talk to her now.
I was smart about it. Yeah, I mean, well, it hasn't even been that long though since I sent her. She might not have even gotten to the plains.
Oh, perhaps, yeah. It's been a few days, right? Because you did that when I started flying to Typhon.
A few days, yeah.
A few days, yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, Artemis will like use the sending stone to find out how far Echo has gotten, and say that we're on our way.
Echo will respond somewhat timidly and say, I haven't even served the fan.
Sorry.
Sorry. She'll respond somewhat timidly. I haven't even really started. The plains are massive, you must know. I've covered some ground. I've even seen some of the natives, although so far I've avoided them.
It seems the Centaurs decided to pick a fight with Darius, so we're going out.
I see.
Continue your search and let me know if you learn anything of the Centaurs while you're out there, or the natives, I suppose.
I haven't interacted much with them in the past. I mostly stuck to the forests, and they rarely come there. If you would like me to make contact with them, I suppose I can. Quite frankly, that was a thought I had. If we want to know of this dragon that came here, then surely the people living here might have seen something.
I think of all people, Echo would be a good person to actually send in there. Not
Makes
inherently
sense.
like she's not known to be a Dragonlord or a member of the Dragonlords. So yeah, Artemis will say I think contact would be good. Do not express your loyalties. They seem to have something against us, so you are simply looking for the red dragon.
I will admit I'm not entirely surprised that the centaurs have something against the Dragonlords, although I think mostly they just don't know you very well.
No, I think the only times we have encountered them is when they tried to sacrifice us and when we killed their god in front of them.
That does not sound like a great first impression.
Not a good first impression. We'll see. But let me know what you find out from them. I'd be curious to know. And just be careful.
I understand.
Then I suppose we go to Astoria?
Mhm.
Yeah, let's go to Astoria.
Go see what your sister knows about.
Mhm.
Not much about him. I don't think he's really done much but protect us from them. But maybe someone there does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they still send scouts out there, right? Surely. Keep like tabs on the centaurs. Feel like that'd be a pertinent thing to do.
Yeah, she doesn't seem like the type of person to turn a blind eye away.
No.
We do it.
Right, you travel to Astoria. Just not a challenge. I will reveal the Astoria map for you.
Definitely preparing going to call today. And scrying.
Yeah, as you approach, you can see that there's quite a lot of activity in Astoria. It seems to once again be moving towards being the bustling town it used to be, rather than the fortress crewed by a skeleton crew. Of course, there's still some hesitancy, perhaps fewer people than before. Some people presumably have just decided to stay in Mitros because, they went there. It's not that bad. why go back to like a border fortress if they can live in the splendor of Mitros instead? But yeah, Astoria is once again a city, bustling markets, people out and about, and as they see you flying overhead, there are a lot of waves and just general gestures welcoming you.
Isn't that nice?
It's the benefit of everyone sort of drawing to Mitros is they all got to see our victory.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll wait back.
We go to the palace.
Mhm.
All right.
Like straight
Uh,
to the palace.
If you want to pop your tokens on the like Astoria map here, you can
Mhm.
have something to look at.
Ooh, yeah. Just like. Man, do you remember when we first came here? Had to fight a basilisk, like.
Oh yeah, it was right
naked.
over there on that little rock.
On that rock. Man, crazy times. No?
Mhm.
Now look at us, returning on Dragonback.
Mhm. The cat's sending to Ariad, and I guess she's like, nah,
Easy.
you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, approaching the palace, you quickly gather an escort, both of unlockers and palace guard, who, of course, don't stand in your way, but rather just go like, here, come with us. You are most definitely important enough. And inside, there's similarly bustling activity as outside in the actual city. It's a bunch of, scholarly-looking types running about, likely on errands and whatnot. And in the middle of this maelstrom of people wanting presumably decisions is Anora. She, while still somewhat, small and still growing, certainly seems to take well to the whole making decisions role and is directing a multitude of people this and that way and talking about changes to make to the city. It sounds like a lot of the people who've returned from Mitros have brought with them ideas of what Astoria could do better. Which, she doesn't seem entirely super happy about that everyone goes, oh, but in Mitros, that's how they did it, and we should do it too. But as she like sees you approach, just honestly rather easy considering there's dragons and they're not exactly subtle. She sort of sends away everyone with just a slight gesture before approaching you guys. She'll basically give the hint of a bow in greeting, smiling at you as she says, welcome, welcome. I'm surprised to see you here, although glad. If you would like, I will prepare a feast, something, maybe something smaller, up to you.
A small meal. We might stay for a bit, depending on what you have to show us.
She like furrows her brows a bit.
We're planning an excursion into the northern plains. Yet we have little knowledge of what we might find there.
She furrows her brows deeper. And why exactly would you want to do that, brother?
He sort of pauses for a moment because he's actually not sure. Says, a red dragon has disappeared there, and it might be related to the events that happened in Mitros recently.
I won't pretend I understand the relation, but if you think it is important, then I'm sure it is. An excursion to the north, however, has to be handled with some care, I would think.
Please do explain.
Well, you see, Astoria was built as a defense against the Centaur tribes to the north. Primarily because, well, obviously they followed Sidon and Luferia, some of them. They are no longer a problem. I'm not entirely sure what is happening up north politically, and, well, if you can even call it politics. but I'm sure that it is fragile. I see no good coming from antagonizing the centaurs to the north. A small expedition, however, respecting their customs, would be plausible.
Are there any particular customs I should be aware of?
Oh, there are quite a few. The centaurs, I would call them Astoria's enemies, yes, but to father they have always proven honorable, at least.
There's not. No lies. Certainly easy enough to keep.
I'm sure they lie and scheme between one another, but usually their leaders seem to honor deals, even if they are not proper oaths.
It's good.
I think we should definitely talk to them. We were initially on poor footing with them because of our prophecy with Sidon and Lutheria. But with them out of the way, there's no reason I see that we cannot be at least neutral, amicable between us all. Let them have their planes.
Oh, right.
Sorry?
Except for that Phoenix.
The Phoenix will have to answer some questions, but we do not even know. They're not one singular clan, surely.
No, but I can tell you there was no honor in the ambush that they set on me. So
should we find them? They'll have answers. They'll have to provide answers, but I do not think we should go in there aiming for hostility. After all, we killed their god. I would be a bit angry if they killed ours as well.
Inora nods. It is true the centaurs are not unified, not in the slightest. There are plenty of tribes to the north, some larger, some smaller. They don't have cities or villages. They travel around, supposedly, make camp wherever they feel like it. If you would like, I will request my scholars to try to compile more useful information for you.
That would be
I will
great.
admit it's not a topic I've studied as intently yet as perhaps I should.
That would be great. How quickly do you think it could be done?
Well, perhaps not in a single day. If you would stay for a few days at least, I'm sure someone can give you the short version. Perhaps a list of things to watch out for.
A few days it is then. Maybe we'll take you up on that feast.
yeah.
Another feast?
She smiles at that.
Feast in Astoria with the three of you. This is bringing back old memories.
At least there's no basilisk involved this time.
Ha!
Sometimes miss that dragon horn.
Oh,
There's nothing quite like it.
Yeah, so it turns out Astoria was equipped and supplied to blast a siege, which never materialized. Suffice to say that our stocks are doing well.
It was a well-preserved food.
Well, I think we have 3 hungry dragons who could help you with that.
All 3 dragons, in a rare moment, agree. But yeah, she'll basically lead you off with a few snappy commands. She sends her servants running. You will have rooms assigned. And once evening approaches, she has scheduled a nice meal for everyone, including the dragons.
Artemisia suggests that they make Astoria Perhaps some dragon-friendly areas in the future.
All in good time.
Mhm.
In the future, of
Well,
course.
there are plenty of spaces around all of Thylea that were dedicated to Titans that could be freed up.
True. I guess we still have one in Mitros, don't we? What happened to that?
Oh, it's gone.
Yeah, but like what about the building?
I imagine little Dareth Axel trying to smash it. Probably unsuccessfully, but eventually we get there.
Yes, as far as Demos is aware, the building still exists.
He puts a note in there. He should do something about that. Maybe like a hall of beasts or something, like stuffed
Mhm.
manticores.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Nerdagon estate. Yeah, we should get rid of that.
It's just free real estate, right?
We don't have freedom of religion in Thylea, in Mitros.
Oh, why would we?
Oh,
We called Mitros.
it's ridiculous.
And there is only the 5. You know.
Hmm.
Yeah, you could worship Halldamir itself, but that's like a druid thing.
Mhm.
All right. Is there any conversation you want to strike up with during the evening meal, or shall we skip ahead to you being told about centaurs?
I mean, Demos is just gonna have a good time. This is exciting. Something's happening. He'll talk to Nora about like try to bond a little bit over rulership things. She can appreciate him bashing a bit on how Mitros does some things that are inefficient and bureaucratic that maybe she doesn't have to deal with up here.
Yeah, absolutely. That is something she can agree with. Although, to Demos' perception at least, she seems to be enjoying this whole being the queen of Astoria quite a lot.
Oh, it's good. It's excellent. Demos just wishes it was a little more action heavy, a little more like chained to a rock fighting a basilisk with his bare fist.
That was a heck of a fight.
Yeah, it's hard to get that done too. And most of the time, he's like, for all the problems of Mitros, it doesn't really need him a lot of the time. On a normal day, people pretty much know what they're supposed to do and how. Like people constantly come to him with things.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, things are just going well for a while. It's not really a huge amount of problems. Yeah, they'll find something to ask him, but nothing pressing. Probably a lot of meeking out justice, which gets frustrating because it's hard to get anyone to give him a clear answer on what actually happened that night.
I think while we're hanging out for a couple days, if we're just chatting, getting to know each other better, Darius would actually like to talk with Aravandar a little bit and just sort of get to know him a bit better. And if he is like super keen on, learning new things and whatnot, as he seems to be, like invite him to his his pretty solitary so far research squad, if that's a thing that he'd be interested in.
Everyone just sort of throws like a glance towards Artemisia with the expression of like, "Can I?"
Artemisia will shrug and say, if you want to, then I'll help you. We do everything together. If this is something you want to help, then I will jump in with you.
If it's an opportunity of to learn something, Aravanda seems to be very interested.
Mhm. Well, I mean, as he knows, as we discussed not too long ago, long term, the most important thing we need to learn is how to take this divine spark. One of them is loose, the one that belonged to Sidon, and the storms outside and everything slowly getting worse. And the other being Lutheria, who Darius at least maintains is something down the road that we need to be pre-prepared for. And this is a whole thing, like beforehand, has never been done before, other than the one trick with Valmitra. So it would be quite the research task and accomplishment.
Yeah, I think we had this chat out of character, like, one-on-one ages ago.
Mhm.
Not even ages ago, it was just a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, Artemisia is down to help. Especially if Aravandar is down to help. Which, of
Topics
course,
like that relating to the divine and divinity and all that are certainly difficult for scholars to really grasp. But it's an approach. One has to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Hadn't
Yeah,
been done until it had once before, so
it's true.
there's an
that,
answer out there somewhere.
with that, a good time will be had. And Nora and Demos discussing, how to rule cities and kingdoms and whatnot. The dragons getting full bellies. Aravanda looking forward to learning new things about how to become a god, which he will admit is not a question he ever asked himself. But sure, why not?
Or regale him with tales of the original expedition and the larger world, which currently Thylia is cut off from, and all the flying and traveling and stuff involved so long ago.
All right. And then after a couple of days where you can, walk through Astoria, visit the markets, have some downtime basically. Honora will organize a meeting with some of Astoria's scholars who can answer you questions about centaurs. It is certainly something that is very, very important for Astoria as a city, as they've been its main enemy for hundreds of years at this point. There have been more than small skirmishes in the past, although usually with Pythor present. Whatever was attempted has never really gotten anywhere, really. They will also, as they go about the history and such between the conflict between Astoria and the Centaurs, will mention that there have been excursions into the Centaur land, though they were never really officially sanctified by Pythor while he was ruling the city. They've always been done by groups of soldiers who've wanted to basically take things into their own hands, to adventuring parties, basically. They were, however, never successful. They went into the plains and were basically never heard from again. Which certainly didn't help the enmity. But another scholar will explain that the culture that the centaurs follow is, well, most importantly, nomadic, but they are at the same time very territorial. While they don't defend cities and like points of interest, they heavily defend the grounds that they roam, basically. Even if they're not there currently, the tribes will have basically claimed areas that they might roam to in the future, and if anyone else is there, they'll be upset about that. It is, however, true that they usually keep their words. More than once in the past, Pythor has apparently made some deals with some of the tribes that have claimed some of the lands closer to Astoria, just so, nothing happens. Back then, it was mostly because Pythor couldn't be asked to do anything at all, so he just made a compromise. But that seems to have held. Usually, they were like trade deals, some Astorian wine in exchange for the centaurs to just fuck off and stop raiding, basically. And generally, that held for as long as was agreed upon. They are also very both militaristic and aggressive. Fighting has a very important role in their society. They, as far as the scholars know, decide whoever leads them through fighting. They decide who marries who through fighting. They fight for fun. They fight a lot, and that's all they do. They do, however, however not brutes. They've got festivals. They've got important dates to them. Most of their festivals and celebrations are hard for like the historians to understand, as they orient themselves around topics that they don't really care about, like when specific constellations on the sky appear. Apparently, that's grounds for celebration, or when the third month of a year has been dry. That's cause for celebration. It's a lot of topics that orient themselves around the weather and nature in general. There's a lot of them, and while they have some basically assumption of what's what, they don't really know exactly what tribe celebrates what and when. They just know that that's a thing they do.
Well, sounds like,
Where?
so if we wanted to try to be peaceful to them, or like not fight them,
We're probably going to end up fighting them.
how do you introduce yourself and sort of ask to be in their place?
As far as they're aware, that's not that difficult. You approach their territory, you wait until you're approached, and the occasional gift might help. But depending on the tribe, they might accept you, or they might tell you to basically go away. They don't usually straight up attack you unless, well, you've obviously done something to offend them.
Well, we've clearly done something to offend their sensibilities just by existing.
But where do Druids fit into their society? Because
The entire society is druidic.
Okay.
The various tribes tend to specialize in different areas that sort of go along with their beliefs. They couldn't tell you the exact specifics, but there might be a tribe that really, worships the life-giving waters, so they stick to the rivers. Or there's those who really think that they are hard, like the dried up grounds of the plain, so they stick to like the really hot areas. They basically base a lot of their society around, well, nature, really.
So we're looking for a volcano.
Yeah. So it's not really like where do Druids come in? Druids are everywhere. They are druidic, period.
Yeah, it's more just like the question of, like, they fight for position. They sounded martial. It didn't quite sound like they fought with magic. So, but if they do they do fight with magic, then that's a whole different, like, for these positions, then it's a whole different ball game. Not just centaurs like clad in armor with pole arms attacking each other.
They definitely tend to have fairly powerful spellcasters.
Yeah.
Darius has even met a few centaur druids in his excursions into the old woods, although they mostly kept their distance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Although it's worth saying that some druids see themselves as druids, others as members of their tribe. The priorities are different from person to person.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So they value strength, magically and martially. Okay.
Presumably so, yeah.
Presumably so. All right. Fine. I guess we go figure out. I mean, I'm sure if we find one centaur clan, they can point us in the direction of the ones with a phoenix that have a grudge to grind. Like, you know.
Well, and if they operate based on nature, we're looking for something extremely hot that's not the sun. So probably not too difficult to spot on Dragonback.
The harshest of
Yeah,
desert parts.
I mean, yeah, desert hot or a volcano or
I don't know, it's
something.
plains. I don't think there is. Is there a volcano? I think it's all plains, right?
Neither you nor the scholars know of like a prominent volcano.
So yeah, maybe a
Or-
Sahara.
Or it could be wherever the red dragons are going. Red dragon has gone.
Yeah.
Who knows?
They may have been
Yeah.
displaced by it. Who knows?
It's worth noting that while most of the northern area here of Valia looks sort of the same rolling grassy hills, there are vast differences. Like some areas are far drier and hotter than others.
Yeah, I mean every plane. I mean, there's even transition. Like, you could look at modern, like, real life, sub-Saharan Africa, I guess, or Saharan Africa. That's sort of. That's how I'm imagining it. Around the rivers would be quite verdant, and then the further away from the rivers you get, the drier and harsher the terrain is. And then you've got mountains in the far north as well. Interesting. Yeah, okay. I say we just go find the first centaur clan and then see if they can give us directions.
We fill Echo in on what we learned, and maybe she's picked up on something else in the last few days.
Yeah, I think so. I'll probably wait until we are about. I think I'll fill her in, and then before we leave, ask if she knows anything, like any leads to find a clan nearby.
She listens to the information you give her. She responds. I've heard most of that before. I was going to see if it were true, I suppose. I would suggest the best way to find a tribe is to ask another. They should at least know each other if they are generally in their vicinity.
Yeah, that's my fault. Stick on the trail of the red dragon, but let us know any information on the centaurs that you find out that we might find useful.
She'll confirm that she will. Right. Are there any specific questions you might still have that I forgot to talk about regarding centaurs?
I do not.
So they seem to respect strength, and generally they're honorable. They'll agree to a deal if you offer one, and unless you do something to make them angry, they're not irrationally aggressive. Also, we know very little about what's going on up there.
Yeah, perhaps one piece of information that would be good to realize. It's not something that many citizens of Astoria and Mitros really realize, but there are a lot of centaurs. They most definitely outnumber all the races on Valia, like taken together.
Well, who knew?
If they were to unite under a single front, that would be borderline unstoppable.
At least I don't think they're very good at sailing.
No.
I'm telling you, I gotta get that navy.
Become nomadic boat people.
Great Wall, perhaps. I mean, I don't think centaurs are really good at climbing either. But I guess they can fly, so.
Apparently they can fly.
I'm not- Yeah. Probably a gift from Sidon.
I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we go surveying.
All right. You head out and try to make contact with one of the tribes. What's your plan?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Do you fly or do you go by ground?
Well, let's walk to begin with. I think they're probably keeping an eye on the city, so if they don't like us being in their land uninvited, we'll just walk out and then they'll probably approach us soon enough.
All right.
Yeah, we used to walk all the time.
Let's see. Copy your tokens for me.
Probably also easier for the centaurs to approach us if we are on the ground, compared to flying.
Copied.
Yeah.
Yeah, should be copied.
Right. I will make the Heartlands map visible for you.
Yay.
Seems appropriate.
Heartlands.
As you can head north, I suppose. There isn't really any road to follow, any path or any trail. It's just a whole lot of plains, most of which are sort of grassy, like waves of hills, like waves in the ocean, sort of flowing out as far as you can see. Although there are, of course, differences, especially further away from the various rivers. The ground gets a lot more dusty and dry. Though even there's occasional oasis with some spring of water just bubbling as it does. The mountainous areas quickly make way for just this infinite flat plain, really. However, it does not take long that, despite this infinite flatness, a group of centaurs does in fact approach you that lurked about, apparently having seen you without you spotting them immediately. It is also led by a centaur that you might recognize as you have interacted with him before.
Oh.
I probably don't remember the name. Let me.
Twist is it's the guy from the Scorpion Island.
No, not
Come with
quite.
us on a boat, and he's very mad.
No, I think it's the ones that we saved from the, like, when we went to go get the Mithril Forge, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is not the ones you save, but rather the ones who've requested that when you investigate the Mithril Forge, you see what you
The bodies.
look for
right?
their brethren, which unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, right.
And we made sure that they,
God, I
they
forgot
got
about
the
that.
bodies regardless. Like, we made sure they had them.
Yeah.
Like, we went
Oh.
out of our way. So, man, that was a long
Well,
journey.
that's a good history to have had with the first people we encounter.
It is certainly something that they seem to remember as they approach carefully. Their bows sheathed, although their eyes are glancing towards the large, scaly lizards that can also breathe various nasty things that you're sitting on. With a whistle and a stomp and a gesture, the leader tells his small squad of centaurs here to stay back as he takes a few more steps forwards, sort of towards you, although still a respectable distance away, before he just waits.
Demos will raise his hand. Says, "Hail you, centaur of the steppes. We are the legendary heroes, as prophesied to take down the Titans, which we did." He sort of looks at him, and it's been a long time. It has that little pause of like he's not sure if he recognizes him, but he feels like he's seen him before. He's trying to place it.
Yeah, the centaur in front of Demos here is aged, to say the least, old, respected still, although perhaps no longer in his prime. He, of course, listens to Demos' introduction, but his eyes sort of quickly drift, just looking over all of you, especially at the scales of the dragons, the arms and armor you wear. As he then turns back towards Demos. There's like a gesture that is vaguely reminiscent of like a Matrosian salute, although not quite. Like punching where his heart would be with his fist, as he says, "Legendary heroes, I see. You've certainly changed since we last spoken. Dragonlords. I should have known, I suppose."
The new Dragonlords.
We do not
Not-
wish to continue forward. Yeah, we do not wish to be like the previous Dragonlords. We do not want to have prejudices.
I'm too old to worry my mind about prejudice and what you could be and could do. I only have time to look at what you do and have done, none of which has offended me, I can assure you.
Good. Then we request access to your lands.
It is unusual to see you on your mighty mounts walking these grounds. It is a good gesture to ask. And you're of course welcome to travel as you like.
We have questions. If you might have the time and inclination to answer some.
He nods. I assumed as much, otherwise, well, you can fly anywhere, right? You do not need our permission. You've killed our... It was inevitable that we would find each other on opposite sides. I'm glad that we did not, in fact, battle. We've lost, but the future is still bright, is it not?
There is no loser if there is no battle.
Hmm.
Then
He
there's only
pauses at that. I suppose that's one way to look at it. Many of our kin disagree, although I'm sure that many simply grumble because it is enjoyable for them, and most of them are in fact glad that it did not come to blows. Quite frankly, I'm not sure what we could have done if it had.
It's a shame to fight for a cause that does not care about you in return.
He nods. Come then, accompany us on our roam. I will answer whatever questions you may have, if I'm able.
Oh, yeah, let's happily go with them.
Mhm. 'Cause, 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 'cause,
So we're looking for a red dragon.
You are collecting them?
Not say that, but it is more of finding out why it went here.
Okay.
We in Mitros has been attacked by a creature known Kraken. The God Killer. Because he really doesn't know if the centaurs. I mean, they don't live by the sea, so presumably that's not something they worry about. A
Yeah,
beast power that is greater even than the titans we slew.
yeah. It is worth noting that while the centaur tries to sort of ride close enough to make conversation, easy, he does on occasion shy away whenever his eyes dart towards the movement of one of the dragons. It's something that Xerxia definitely notices and exploits for her pleasure.
Demas doesn't notice that she's doing it.
As the centaur says, we wouldn't know of creatures of the seas, of god killers, nor of dragons that cross over here.
Do you know of sort of glances that there is just phoenixes?
One of not your tribe, but certainly ones who roam this land and in the skies surrounding this land.
Would you describe this creature?
Yeah, I do. I give as accurate a detailed response as he can, given what he saw in the, heat of battle, and that it was accompanied by two centaurs that could fly as well, like even when they were not in the eagle shapes that they had assumed.
That does seem to give him some a moment of recognition, as he says. I can assure you that I know of no tribe who would use domesticated creatures of any type as companions, hunting companions, mounts or otherwise. Not that mounts for us would be very practical. But what you describe sounds like a tribe that is. I would not speak ill of them. They are a tribe from the central steppes. They've made it their purpose to protect all the lands, including what lies above. They are perhaps. They remember and they hurt, as many of us do. I don't believe what you've met there was, in fact, a creature, but I believe it was their leader.
Oh,
They're
Could you
led
tell
by
us more
this?
about them? Well, the other centaurs were assuming the forms of birds, so it can simply be a more powerful centaur in a more powerful form. I assumed as much by its attitude and intelligence.
you say that they remember. What is it they remember?
The old
Sort of,
Dragonlords.
sort of tilts his head towards Deimos. I'm worried that you do not. You say you're the new Dragonlords, therefore you should know what the old ones did.
I mean, since we've found out some things, they were very terrible to Gigans and Minotaurs both. I don't know much about centaurs.
They were terrible to all natives. That was the thing. They drove all of the native peoples of Thylia out.
I assumed. I mean, the steppes. Demas looks over and says, "These places are vast. There's many centaurs. Like, sure, other beings lived where Mitros stands now, but surely not centaur. The lands there don't think would suit them. She looks to Ukar here for some clarification.
He has a bit of a frown on him as he says, "Do you think your city, Astoria, was built in a place that centaurs would not want to visit? Or rather, was it built there because we used to?" It is ancient history, however. This time, the current times are different. They are tolerable, at least as far as I'm concerned. However, if you've truly encountered. Her name is Tanara. She leads the Scorchrunner tribe. They claim the inner parts of these plains, the one not touched by water, but only by the unrelenting sun.
And they are very angry at dragons.
I would think so, however, if you've encountered her and exchanged aggressions, she must have considered you as a trespasser. Her territory borders no known land of any non-centaurs. It is difficult to get to without first encountering any of the other tribes.
For most people, but I did arrive there after an excursion to Hades. It's not somewhere that I can choose where I come back. It's always the same spot. You may have seen me land there before.
I wonder why it's that spot.
It's simply the area that the key is keyed to.
But surely no one would choose it at random.
I don't know how these magics work. Still learning. Maybe one day it could be changed.
Must look centaurs. Do you have stories of world-shattering monsters?
He considers. We have stories of Sidon, who is supposedly able to do just that, although, of course, those are no longer relevant, I think. There are stories that say that Philea is asleep, and when she wakes, the world will shake. But that is perhaps not what you're looking for. There are, of course, stories about creatures, monsters even, roaming not necessarily these lands, but sort of gestures vaguely north of the lands. But I suppose they are not of a scale that would be comparable to anything that would threaten you. Quite frankly, most of our stories about terrors in the skies are those of scaled creatures breathing fire, things like that, which is perhaps not relevant to you in that way.
Just,
Gives another cautious glance to the dragons.
it's just, I mean, the thing is, dragons are just people. I mean, this here, that's Strixia. It's just my sister.
He literally stops for like a step as if forgetting how to walk before he continues. I see your customs are strange, but I suppose the differences are to be expected.
It's nods. That won't hold you against being wary of them.
Yes. Especially because, well, there, as we've said, there is another red roaming these lands quite likely not of its own mind, something dominating it, perhaps even playing on the well-earned prejudices of the centaurs. If we can find it and remove it safely from these lands without hurting people, that could perhaps go a long way to at least starting some form of reparation with the centaurs. At the very least, protecting them from more suffering at the hands of a dragon. So, if you've seen it flying, its patterns are strange. But any direction that could lead to it would be extremely appreciated.
He ponders before he says, the tribes were unprepared, as history goes, to fight those things that were flying up above. But many of the tribes found ways to deal with those threats. Assuming that this dragon was of a size that would put it, well, assuming that this is not the kind of massive monster that could kill the gods, as you've mentioned, then I think it would have encountered one or more of the tribes in one way or another. It might very well be possible that it no longer roams these lands.
I cast Scrying on the dragon.
Right. How long does that take to cast?
10 minutes. I think. I'll just say, well, let's see. Yeah, 10 minutes. So hang out for a while.
All right, you get to save. So you pull out a crystal ball, I guess.
Crystal ball and a toenail.
The spell fails.
Interesting. Okay. Possible.
Fails. That's a gargantuan wisdom save, mate.
Might be dead.
It might be dead.
Yeah.
There's no way to know. It also may have just rolled really high. I know I did see it recently, and it was just sort of flying around.
Which is a good way to get it killed by the dragon hunting tribe.
Yeah.
I could try again. I do have one more 5th level slot.
Nah, I don't think it's worth it.
You must well ask about, so how many tribes are there?
The centaur chuckled to that. Oh, that is a question that could cause much commotion if it were to be asked from one centaur to another. The exact number of tribes, I suppose, varies. They split, they merge, they die out. There are, however, a few major tribes that have become fairly stable. I could talk about 3 of them. I'm sure others could name other tribes that they think are major and stable, but these ones I am aware of.
That's nuts. Curious.
There are, of course, the Scorch Runners under Tanara Scorch Runner, a recent tribe as far as history goes. Decades, but centuries old, but still recent as far as that thing goes. There's the Thunderhoofs, who rule much of the northeastern part. They often interact with the few villagers you people have on the coast.
Is that a known? People live up here?
Oh yeah. They
And
usually stick to themselves, like away from any sort of politics that you would be aware of, but there's a few settlements.
Well, they're so far away, though.
They are incredibly far away, yes.
Just remote
Do
people.
traders ever visit? Like, or they've been like lost to us.
Could you repeat that?
Do traders ever visit?
Some enterprising traders go there by ship, yes.
All right, yeah. Good Thunderhoofs.
Did we catch the leader's name of the Thunderhoofs?
He didn't say.
Oh. Do you know who leads the Thunderhoofs?
I'm afraid I do not. They often have changes in leadership. They fight for the title, often.
Ah,
And I know that further to the northwest, there are the Stormwalkers, who have since retreated a bit, perhaps pondering their next moves. They, I know, were closest to Sidon.
Northwest, yeah.
Yes.
What is this track called?
He again chuckled to that. Names are difficult. Names are a right to be earned.
Hmm.
We have not had a good time. I think, although I don't know exactly, you could more call us a family rather than a tribe.
All right, that makes sense.
And what of the tribe in the Centerland?
Those would be the Scorch Runners.
You said there were 5 great tribes, yeah?
I said 3.
Oh, okay.
There are probably more, but he'll give you some names, but he doesn't know anything about them.
well,
Seems like the Thunderhoofs might be the best choice of who to approach.
I would advise against that. They, I suppose you could try. They, however, do not. How do I put this? I do not want to offend, of course.
Of course.
From what I know of your customs, theirs might seem crude to you, and I expect disagreements.
What does that mean?
Easy to do something that they would interpret as an offense, and they would respond to with what they would think is appropriate, which you are likely going to consider an attack.
But they're used to talking to people in the towns. No?
Oh, yes. But those talks, I'm sure, have been difficult in the beginning, and now the parties know each other. You do not have the advantage of experience.
Well, the alternatives seem to be the Stormwalkers or the Scorch Runners, neither of which seem more approachable.
mm,
You seem surprised that none of the Centaur tribes seem approachable to what you represent.
Well, I mean, they're, humans I couldn't talk to either. Whole city that I've not even heard from for a very long time. People are diverse. Bigger people here would be too. Is there
well,
anything we
if
could do that might make our traveling of this plane easier? Some way we could get ahead of some of these issues.
The first thing you've already done, which is to walk, not fly. I suspect if you were to want to meet with the Thunderhoofs or the Scorch Runners, you would have simply walked into the edges of their territories. You will get spotted by unseen scouts and approached. What happens after, I couldn't tell you exactly. It depends.
If it is at the edge of the territory, surely we could be within a part outside of theirs. Not do any offense by breaking into it.
Whole discussion between
I
territories.
don't get the impression that there's a strict borderline. Unless it's a river or something. More just an idea.
The only way to know whether you are in the territory of a tribe is when the tribe approaches you to tell you that you are.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't assume that we would know ahead of time.
No. I think we just go.
Yeah, I think we go to the Scorch Runners. If they're all equally
Yeah.
hostile or going to be a problem, then the Scorch Runners would have been the one to take care of the dragon because they're the only ones who can fly.
Yeah.
And they're the only one we've had a previous encounter with. So.
You also ask, so say that one of us killed a couple of a member of a different tribe. How easily would it be to smooth that over?
He frowns deeply at that and says, "It depends on the context of the conflict.
Self-defense when they ambushed me.
Self-defense from whose perspective?"
Well, as I said, I appeared on their lands and was minding my own business, and then they ambushed from above. At which point I killed 2 of them.
Were the deaths unavoidable?
No.
Hoof does a motion with his hoof. You can't really identify. Could give me an insight though.
Actually, hang on a sec. Because even if I had knocked them out, they would have just fallen to the ground and then died that way. So I'm gonna say,
They're unavoidable.
they were. Yeah, say again.
It was unavoidable. They wanted to.
They were unavoidable.
They wanted to kill you. They drew bows to start shooting at you while you're in the sky.
Yeah,
You had to defend yourself.
Yeah, even if I had maybe been a bit kinder, like they still would have fallen and died from impact. So yeah, I'm gonna wreck on that real quick.
She pauses and says, "If they agree that the conflict, the deaths were unavoidable, then you've done no offense. Although..."
Oh wait, I did pursue them after they fled. Oops.
It is difficult, of course. Perspectives differ.
I know that I wouldn't look at it logically if someone had killed my 2 companions, so I don't expect a soft welcome.
Could also be that if you appeared in their territory, they will have assumed that you've already snuck your way through the territory of many other tribes. They might not have appreciated.
Well, perhaps we should do what we should have done from the beginning and simply talk. Either way, it seems like that's the place to go. What do you guys think?
I still think we just go. Walk into their lands.
Yeah.
Well, we approach it, right? Yeah, with the idea to meet them and have a conversation. Just
Yeah.
everyone's at.
We walk.
But yeah, I'm saying that one as opposed to the other 2.
Yeah. Don't have any desire to talk to the other 2, so yeah, I think just walk to the Scorch Runners. See if they'll talk.
Right. The Centaur squad here will accompany you for some hours at least. Not at a speed that is exactly super fast, but they don't seem to mind having to walk slower because of the dragons. But at some point, they basically, or their leader Hokar basically says, I think we're approaching their territory. We should not push our luck, but of course you may continue on.
Thank you for your guidance.
We are likely to meet again at some time.
He nods. One favor returned for a favor given some time ago.
Or if there's anything we could do to earn another one, let us know.
He nods. And then with a gesture and a shout, the group of centaurs gallops away. Pretty much into the direction that they came from. As you will find yourself basically walking this way. It'll take some time, to say the least, to the point where you're basically walking for a day, and then night falls. Probably Xerxia who speaks up and says, it seems very silly to walk. Not only is it easier to ambush us, as Darius has explained, apparently these centaurs can fly, we are visible all over, it's uncomfortable.
Demons will actually be off of searching, walking next to them. Since they're walking, that doesn't usually do that. But he'll be in a good mood. It's been a while since we've taken a strolling. Surely it must be nice to have my weight off your back for a while.
Quite frankly, I prefer your physical weight on my back far more than the sound of a ball hitting a wall over and over and over again.
Sort of glance over to the other two and says, oh, whatever do you mean?
She sort of does a vague gesture with her like head, and then just walks a step faster.
He has to hurry to keep up. He's faster than him. Eos doesn't seem overly intimidated. He's optimistic about our chances with these centaurs because he feels pretty good about our chances in a fight.
Yeah, so do I.
I'd say I almost soloed it. So with you two here, yeah, they'd have to bring more birds.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not concerned in the least. I think Artemisia, would be walking beside Aravandar as well.
Mm-hmm. Darius probably tries for a while, but then he's not nearly as strong as Artemisia and Demos, and eventually has to get back on Death Axel's back.
We have quite the constitution between us.
Oh, let me tell you, getting aging again is something to get used to. Very strange after so long.
We're getting some good steps in.
Yeah.
As the night descends, what's your plan for resting?
Put out like a little camp. He must certainly pack.
No, why would we put out a little camp? Artemisia throws down the instant fortress.
Well, that works.
Like,
He was packed a tent.
The
Right. Oh yeah, I always
unassailable
forget you.
adamantine structure
Yeah.
in the middle of the
I
savannah
always
here.
forget you had that. Yeah.
Halldamir just like sees them like pull out a rolled up tent and just shakes her head like, and then throws down the little adamantine cube, says the command word, and then it springs open into a like 3-story adamantine tower.
I'm sure they won't take offense to this at all, as he says as he wanders into it.
They could take offense, but they're not going to get into it.
Yeah. Yes, I'm definitely getting past the bedroll phase of my life. A comfy bed in a structure sounds good.
Comfy bed in a structure it is.
Yeah, it's fine.
Well appointed.
Like chefs anyway, just in case, but
Oh yeah, food
it's like
is
6 of us, so.
food is just like rations, but you know,
Mm.
safe in there. Good.
All right, you rest in safety. Do you still keep a watch out, or do you just say, we're safe anyways?
I think a
I
watch
think we should.
still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, it's divided by 6. Like, that's barely anything.
Yeah, 8 hours divided by 6 is like less than a couple of hours each.
All right. I'm not going to ask you for an order. If it's relevant, I'll
No.
just roll.
Yeah.
But in general, the night passes without anything happening, really. On your respective watches, you can get a look over the landscape, I suppose, from your adamantine tower. But you won't see much. There's a bit of movement, perhaps, the occasional animal grazing and running about, the sounds of crickets, the sounds of wind in the dry grass and the occasional tree. A whole lot of nothing. Although, as I say that, I'm going to roll dice.
As the sun rises, there are 20 phoenixes.
How many are you? You're 6.
That's right, I got cold breath.
Give me a perception check for Derefexel, and you can get advantage on that one.
Ooh. Advantage, you say?
Advantage on a +7 is a pretty good perception.
18.
She sees nothing.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Nothing happened at all.
Well, that was a good watch.
I do think, however, like when we're ready to leave, like after some breakfast, I think before we exit, we know that they're druids. We have worked with a druid. We know that druids can fuck with the land. So, perhaps we check that the land is not. I don't know. I don't know what druids can do, but Artemis is cautious about stepping out in the morning.
Well, I mean, we are here literally inviting them to make the first move, so it'll be what it is. But perhaps from today on, we sit on Dragonback just in case we do have to make a quick takeoff.
We'll be fine.
Yeah. we see anything in the morning after we all long rest?
Nothing approaches your adamantine tower.
Cool.
Alright, well, once we're all out of it, we'll collapse it. I guess we continue on our way?
Right, you said just keep going until someone tells you you're on their lands, so
Yeah.
that's what we do.
I mean, the whole point of walking is you're really obvious, so
Mhm.
no one can miss you.
Although I can send a Juniper up into the sky and occasionally look through her eyes.
Right, you continue on. Give me perception checks.
Okay. Whoop. Ooh.
I'm gonna do it through
Ooh.
Juniper. Oh wow.
Artemisia and Aravanda are on their game today.
Eris and Dareth are not.
Yeah, it's Aravanda who sort of pokes Artemisia at some point, and sort of subtly tries to gesture towards the direction, but isn't really subtle about it in the end. As he says, "We're being trailed. There's 2 centaurs that way. They seem to be, I don't know if you can call it crouching, but I think there's a slight curve in the landscape, and they're just hiding just below it, so it's very hard to spot them."
You know, Artemisia is bold enough. That she'll look in the direction that Aravanda pointed out, and then will shout, "Hail, you two, over the ridge!"
Aravanda narrows his eyes looking in that general direction and says, "I think they left."
Artemisia shrugs. Says, I suppose they'll want to meet us first in greater numbers, I guess. But at least we know we've been spotted, so perhaps we can rest and stop walking so much. They know where we are. We should save our strength.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe they're
Aravanda ponders for another moment and then says, "Do you think we're intimidating?"
Yes, Aravanda, I think we are.
I see. I suppose that's good.
Somewhat. It can make conversation difficult. If they fear us too much, they will be wary. And sometimes wary provides hostility where it does not need to be. The other problem is that we did kill their god in front of all those that gathered. It is possible that they saw us directly do it. Heard us pronounce Sidon's death.
In that proclamation, though, we did stress the value we placed on their lives and that we didn't want to fight them.
Indeed.
So they also may have heard that.
But to a couple of centaurs, we are a vastly intimidating threat that I do not blame them for wanting to approach without force.
Certainly not without Tanara.
I imagine we'll be quite heavily outnumbered when they decide to speak to us.
Well,
If I was them, I would be. I would do exactly that.
Well, Tanara knows that if she does try something, that she'll be cut off while the rest of her forces are dealt with, and then have to deal with us alone again. I don't know if she'll be that foolish.
Artemisia shrugs. Who knows? We shall find out.
Oh, I just realized we've long rested. I get my 5th level
Yes.
slot back.
We have everything.
You can take a long rest.
Yeah.
So I think we just chill now.
Yeah, we'll just wait.
You know,
Put the tower back up and go sunbathing.
You're gonna like put a little grill on top,
Yeah. Put the tower up.
flip some burgers, and
I've got the tokens for it if you want, Sheen.
No, I don't necessary.
Demas.
But yeah, there's we got a
Our
few levels.
cooking's
to
only got better.
I imagine that it's quite well stocked. Artemisia stocks the fortress pretty well. Maybe not with terribly much booze, but like dried meats and stuff. Cheeses.
Yum.
Like the fancy ration. Like the good ration. Still rations. Kind of like the difference between an MRE, like a modern day MRE and hardtack. Like
yeah, I mean, I suppose we just see if anything happens, right?
yeah.
I'll spare you the wait because nobody will come approach you.
Oh, all right.
Perhaps the occasional perception check reveals that you are being observed, but there's no welcoming committee of any kind.
I think after a while, like maybe
Guess we haven't gone far enough in yet.
yeah, I think maybe after a couple of hours we should just pack up camp and then start going in again. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, we could stay here for a couple of weeks more.
I mean, we could. I mean, we could go right into the heart of their territory and just set up camp.
We
Yes.
don't want to antagonize them, right? The best thing, since they don't want to meet with us, I suppose we should go talk to someone else.
I mean, we have to go through their land to go towards the Thunderhoofs, right?
Yeah.
So
Let's just keep going.
just keep going.
Yeah, the Thunderhoofs would be more to the east, to the northeast.
Let's take the long route, like through as much of the Scorch Runners' lands as we can.
Oh, you're Joe really picking a fight here.
Yeah. I don't want my friend to be attacked, and I mean, I don't even care about the Thunderhoofs. These Scorch Runners have answers to give.
Yeah, we still need to find out about that dragon, and also, it's not like I'm never gonna plane shift back to that spot again. So.
Well, we shouldn't. I mean, if we're not welcome here, they don't want to talk to us, then
Well, one day we have to go get Kira.
sure, we'll find a way.
And when we come back, don't want this waiting for us. And they would be the ones who took out the dragon if it is dead. So. It's the direction of answers.
Suppose we do find them and kill them until someone tells us what we want to know.
Ideally not.
But we're going to be different from the old Dragonlords. You have to show them that, right?
Yes.
We're guests here. We're visiting.
And that's why we're walking.
We did the same thing in Mitros.
Mhm. Can I minor illusion a white flag above us?
I mean, you could.
You must want to try something. Before we do anything reckless, I'm just going to try to walk out there. We know they're across those hills. I'm just gonna. You guys can watch from the tower. I'm just gonna walk out there.
All right.
That's what he'll do. We'll leave Chucksha here and just walk out to the towards them, just by his lonesome.
So actually, we'll protest for a moment to leave Demos alone, but then we'll sit and wait and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How far does Demos want to go? When does he decide that it's too much?
I think the point here is just to go far enough that it would take a bit for anyone to come help him from the tower.
In normal standards or Artemisia standards?
He doesn't really actually know how quick Artemisia.
And teleport standards.
Artemisia is very fast.
Far enough that it's like, further than a bow shot, I guess. Right.
But like 400 feet.
Yeah.
That's within a dimension door, right?
I don't have dimension door. That's Ariad.
However long it would take for him to be vulnerably exposed. That's the point. He wants to go out far enough that he's showing that if they wanted to attack him, like this is a golden opportunity.
It would probably take to the point where Demos is like barely visible before Demos would spot movement.
Okay. As soon as he starts movement, he just stands there until he can see some centaurs, in which he will mimic the greeting that the other centaurs did to us.
Give me a second here.
I'm reading the stuff for an instant fortress, and my god, is it like terrifying to abseil? Like,
Maybe that's why they haven't approached us.
yeah, probably.
You think this gleaming eldritch structure in the middle of nature is imposing? I would agree.
Well, it's also like you can't enter it without the command word. Like, you can't open the door without the command word. It can't be toppled over. It's like immune to all non-magic weapon damage. It's resistant to all other damage. Like, it's insane.
All right. What Demos spots? First is two centaurs, sort of almost as if appearing in vision, some distance away, making good speed towards Demos.
Sorry, Sheep, I was muted. I would like Darius casts clairvoyance as Demos is going away, so that we can spy in on this.
Clairvoyance. Let me look that up.
Or I suppose I have to choose one. So I could
In a
clairaudience.
location familiar to you.
Or unfamiliar that is obvious, such as behind
Okay.
a door around a corner. And since I can, you said he was barely visible.
Yeah, you can see Demos.
Yeah, so I'll do the audio sensor so that we can hear.
Okay. Where was I? As it was first, two centaurs sort of approaching at good speed. Although from the horizon, it quickly becomes obvious that they're not alone, as perhaps like a little more than half a dozen more of them. Certainly not an army, but a few of them.
Demos will await them.
The druids that approach you, the centaurs that approach you, both definitely have that druidic vibe going on. They've got bows, they've got pikes, but the way they move about, they seem very confident without having them drawn or aimed. Their skin is slightly discolored, not in an unhealthy way, but more reminiscent of bark, perhaps. They sort of first charge towards Demos, and then once they get like within 30, 40, 50 feet, they start circling him somewhat, as if trying to encircle him, although it's more of a gesture perhaps than actually an effective combat tactic. Sort of seeing what he does. What does Demos do?
He just sort of holds up his hands, you know, sort of what he hopes is that this sort of he's not reaching for a weapon right now.
The scene with the Riders of Rohan.
Yeah.
Sort of like that, although not quite as aggressive. There's few of them. They certainly are actually rather large. Like, they are people the size of horses. There's still some variants, however. Some of them, especially one of the centaurs who arrives sort of with the rest of the squad after these two scouts. Let me actually put them on the map here. Is actually rather massive, larger than even your dragons at this point. Borderline towering over his companions here, although not quite towering over them. But he is sizable. These guys, however, let me reveal their tokens too. They take their distance. They're like 100 feet perhaps. Enough that they could reach Demos very quickly, but perhaps not the opposite. Yes, they're like spread around here. Some of them have, well, not they've got their bows ready, although not aimed towards Demos, while others have their pikes drawn. They too sort of not exactly circle, but do like a bit of a half circle formation. Before one of the druids comes to a halt towards Demos, not really looking towards him, but rather towards the tower in the distance, observing.
Just glances along her look, so looks at the tower, and then looks back to. Just, would you believe me? It took a couple days for me to actually think that might be the problem.
She responds, as far as problems go, there are a few you've perhaps yet to realize. Your gesture is cute. I considered it a trap at first. I still do. She's still looking towards the tower.
I have no purpose to trap any of you. I've come a long way to learn what happens here. I understand I'm terribly ill-informed from the other tribes who passed on the way. Well, the other tribe. I presume you're the Scorch Runners, and we are indeed in the right place.
Few have ever said that reaching the Scorch Runners' territory was the right place.
I hope we are at the edge of it.
She finally takes her look off the tower and looks towards Demos. Edge, center, what does it matter to you?
Yes, I would not want to offend.
Didn't seem to concern the others. The other, I should say.
Demas looks back at them, and just. I'm sure there are those of your tribe that are more prone to do things who are more easily insulted than others. They're my allies. We have done great things together. I understand one of them recently came here on a dragon, appearing in the middle of your territory by accident.
What happened after did not seem like an accident.
I wouldn't know exactly what happened. Patriot told me he was all of this, and mind you, simply what I've been informed. You to find out. Partly curious what your opinion is on it. Said that he was ambushed. He admitted he killed 2 of your number, but he said the deaths could not be avoided.
At that, the druid pauses. The look sort of turning intense, to say the least. Give me an insight check.
Sure. Is he good at insight? Nah, he's not good at insight. Let's see if he happens to be lucky. 13, I'll take it. Above average.
But her look, other than perhaps being surprised, but by what Demos said, is hard to interpret. It's a cold expression, that's for sure. As she says, "I see."
Almost looks apologetic. I should say he doesn't have his helmet on. He went out here. He took it off.
What is it you would want from us? From here? Why did you ever come here? For the second time. The first, your descent, killing our god in the skies. And while I'm sure you have your arguments why the Titans were evil, your gesture was a grand one that will not be forgotten for many, many generations. And now you come here thinking that you own the skies, the land, flying about, and when you're confronted, you explain that you were ambushed. It was unavoidable to use the lives of my companions to interrogate me, while I am frozen behind your arcane magics.
I think she doesn't need insight to understand that Demos has no idea.
She doesn't seem to care that Demos has no idea.
Yeah. So he's not really sure which thing to answer to first.
Every time you come here and cause your atrocities, someone says, "We didn't know, we didn't mean to," and yet you did. Over and over, the same pattern.
Perhaps I've tried to learn what I could for people, but there is no one who could tell me much, so I came here myself. The past our histories seem to be told from a perspective that has been somewhat tainted. I was told when I was young, Dragonlords of old were great heroes, but since then I've come to learn that this is a falsehood. I suppose you could say I'm here to further to get rid of some other falsehoods I might not yet know that I hold.
She doesn't respond immediately. She says, "The best thing you could do right now is take your accursed tower, your scaled lizards of war, your murderers, and leave. I will tell you right to your face. If I had the people here with me and thought I could kill all of you, I would. The land does not welcome you, neither do I. Where you go, you bring..." She pauses. Give me another insight check.
Okay, better.
To Demos' mind, it doesn't seem like she's actually talking like to Demos.
Can I do an insight check to see if she's talking to me through the clairvoyance? Like if she
Sure.
spotted it?
Sure, you can give me an insight.
That'd be a power move.
Yeah, that would be a power. I love it. I really hope it is. 16.
Darius doesn't know.
Yes, we'll say if that is what you wish, that is what we will do. But personally, I'm hoping that we might be able to find a way that these situations do not come up again. As you say, whenever people show up here, bad things happen. I would hope that perhaps with more understanding we could prevent those things from happening.
He borderline glares at Demos and says, "It's a shame that we can't simply build a wall like you have. Borders mean nothing to you.
Well,
If you want to change our opinion of you, it will take any action whatsoever that is not reminiscent of what I think you are like. Everything you do confirms my suspicions."
Just nods, and we'll just go ahead with the reckless plan he had sort of hatched in his mind. So saying, my proposal was this, that I will offer you a time of service, and in return, you would offer me guidance, perhaps knowledge of your people and your customs.
He raises an eyebrow at that. "I've no interest."
Is there something I could offer you that you would be interested in exchange for sort of just another meeting, perhaps a chance to really talk?
I am talking. I do not intend there ever to be a second talk. The next time you arrive, I will be better prepared. I will acknowledge your attempt at gesturing. But your words mean nothing to me.
You know, I will not force my company upon you if you do not. Clearly isn't welcome. But I do wholeheartedly believe that we have more to gain by sharing knowledge than by keeping it. As for why we came here, partly, for me at least, it was to try to make sure that an incident like the one that occurred with my ally does not occur again. The place he arrived here at is connected to the plane of Hades, a plane which he was visiting at the time. He left it, and without his, at no fault of his own, did he appear here. He did not know that that was what would happen. At least that much I can say. Why this place was connected to the plane of Hades, I don't know. Frankly, I don't think I could know. Maybe you have some insight.
Persuasion check.
Sure.
With disadvantage.
All right. Take it. 11.
She continues her glare.
Fuck, muted again. Sorry. I would like to rig this and give him a 16.
I mean, it's disadvantage. You can rig one of the rolls, but the second one was an
that's
11.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Got net 20 in the first one, though, so I'll take it. It was straight
Yeah.
D20 disadvantage.
She'll say, "This land has secrets. Secrets that you now want to appreciate in your own way because it is beneficial to you. I see no reason why any of those secrets should concern you. Whatever method you use to appear in our lands, don't."
Yeah, all right. It seems pretty fair, honestly. Yeah. I'm just taking a moment to think here, because Demos is taking a moment here. So at one point he came here because it seemed like a fun excursion, but now that he's here, it's like Demos works well under pressure. He always has. When he doesn't have some sort of mission or goal, he becomes, sort of begins to lose himself a little bit. Now he
Well,
has.
we had the goal of the red dragon.
Yeah. He'll ask. Well, see what he said. My compatriots bade me ask if you've seen another dragon in these lands. A red one. Should have come here a while ago. We were looking for its whereabouts.
For what reason? Was it with you?
And he shakes his head. No, it had been, and he sort of thinks like the detailed thing about the pirate island and like all the different tribes, and says it had been demanding tribute from people who were once our enemies but now our allies. Yet without our effort, it left its post and fled, seemingly here, acting erratically as if it wasn't in control of its own faculty. This was alarming. I mean, the creature is one of power. So we felt it was best to make sure that it could do no harm.
Give me another persuasion.
Sure.
Still with disadvantage.
And 11.
She frowns and says, "We've spotted it. We did not get to it before the Thunderhoofs killed it."
I would like to insight to see if she's bluffing.
Sure.
Trying to. $16.
Darius doesn't think so.
Okay.
Yes, nods. So it I was beginning to suspect like it doesn't actually really bother him. The dragon seemed mean, so but now that answer he can give to Darius when he has no idea that you're spying on him. I think he will look to her. Those were the reasons for why I came. But I would once more like to request a chance to prove myself. Your tribes are known to be honorable. Perhaps an earnest request. Give me an unfair challenge if you will, but allow me at least the attempt.
I don't doubt that there are some of you who at least have some trace of honor and courage. Perhaps you're one of those. But I'm not dealing with just you, am I? My people are not dealing with just you, are they?
Yes. Just right now you are, yes. You are also in the tower. I did not ask them to come here. I went here because I believed this was the most fair way for us to meet. I'm a visitor in your lands, and well,
She frowns, says,
just around, let him here. I will go alone.
I still have no interest in having you do anything for me. If it is answers about this dragon you seek, then I can tell you that it was discovered trying to burrow down into the ground. We don't know why.
He just frowns.
Oh, red.
It is very strange. Concerning.
There are cracks and crevices that span these plains. Some have been explored, others go deep, but we don't know what it was looking for. We will never find out. The Thunderhoofs have its head mounted above their campsite as a trophy.
Did it dig within your territory or theirs?
Both. Our territories touch. It did not seem to be doing a very good job at finding what it was looking for.
Perhaps something I could do for you would be to find out why it was coming here, digging here.
It's irrelevant to us. It is dead.
That does not necessarily mean that what was looking for it is not still important. This creature came a very long way, from an island out beyond the sea, further away even than our cities. And it came here for some reason, or something called it here.
Then it is something that we will investigate. It is our land. It intruded into our land. If there's a danger, then we will find out about it. You do not need to be involved.
I do not need to. No. I want to take a moment here to do an insight check. And just see if Demos can figure out, he's trying to find an angle that might be approachable to these centaurs, yet they're still talking to him, Maybe there is something that could interest him, but he just hasn't thought of it. Not by looking at them, but figuring out what they're doing or how they're doing it, he might be able to find a way to some angle. I mean, to further this relationship in some way.
Sure, give me an insight. You won't even have disadvantage.
Wow. All right. Sweet too. I don't have skills. I'm a fighter. I can jump high and run far, but that's about it.
I mean, as far as the demos things, they just want you to leave.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with. You really don't want to, but yeah. All right. Yeah. He'll nod. So,
I'm gonna help Deimos out a bit here, and cast Sending at him, and say, at the very least, they should know about the first red and the fact that it may have been manipulating it. Whatever it was searching for should become a priority of theirs if they insist on not having help for it.
he was suddenly unexpectedly does a weird real tick with his eye, just blinks and then looks around and then looks back to the tower. And looks at the druid. Just I apologize. I'm reminded that there's some information I should deliver to you. If you're going to investigate what this dragon might have been digging for, we've come to find in the lair of a creature known as the God Killer, a beast of the sea, that there is a being out there known as the First Red, a red dragon beyond any size and power we've ever seen. We also believe that it has been gaining strength and that this red dragon might have been manipulated by it.
Say,
We'll try to describe, like Estimas might, the thing we found inside the Kraken stuff.
sure. She'll listen.
Runes and scenes of the past and the future, and big eye.
Simos finishes. She'll, with basically a cold deadpan delivery, say, "It must be terrifying to be confronted with god killers."
You know, if it makes any consolation, yes. I myself was doubting our path, as the ritual would have it, and I spoke to Thylea at the Isle of the Golden Heart. I asked her if there was any way it could be avoided, and she said no. This had to happen. The twins had gone too far for her.
Remember persuasion, this one with advantage.
16 and a 20.
Nat
Well.
20.
Hmm.
She stares at Demos as he says that, you've talked to Philea. But doesn't seem to think Demos is lying.
I mean,
And
he
she
still
says,
he has a slight bit of regret in his like. He does feel like he fulfilled his prophecy and says he's proud of saving Mitros, but I think as he's been growing older, and probably something he began to realize towards the end of our quest, and also why he didn't kill Kentimane, is that he's messing with things that are way beyond him, right? He doesn't actually know the ramifications, but at least when he asked Thylea about this, she gave him the he made him resolute, right? In that what he was doing here was right with the twins. And that was an important question to him. It's something he holds pretty dear.
she pauses and says, "I've not been to the Golden Heart in many, many years. Perhaps I too need to undertake another voyage to commune with Philea. If what you say is true and I do not sense deception, I'll have much to ponder. It is true that the Titans were opposed to your kind, but for good reason.
And
They have gone too far. We've heard that Luferia has changed. No
Her
matter.
enmity with Etheria was made. When investigating her temple, I found her priestesses and priests dining on the bodies of children. I could not excuse them. But beyond it, the Titans had not just enslaved many of my people, but also their own kind. We slew the twins, yes, but in doing so, we freed the others, at least some of them, able to still move after what the twins had done to them.
He ponders for a moment. That does not change recent happenings.
No.
If you want to attempt to take a step forward to mending whatever hostility inevitably exists between us, the first step is to leave. And if I ever see that mage of yours in my lands again, He doesn't finish the sentence.
So we'll bow and say, then you will not see me again in these these lands until I am invited. He'll stand up from his bow and then, sort of, they're circled him, so you sort of await their leave to go back,
Yeah, they watch unmoving for a little while. Before the centaur Demos has been talking to basically turns around almost dismissively, although the gestures of basically her horse half are difficult to interpret.
Yeah.
Before she, with a cracking of her form and a twist of her shape, turns into a reasonably large flaming bird and shoots off into the sky as the rest of her retinue here follow on the ground in a stampede.
Let's just watches them go. The boy turns and sort of looks back to the tower, sighs slightly, and begins trudging along the dusty ground to get back. Just going over what was said in his head so he can recount it as correctly as possible to the other. Not knowing, of course, that they were listening the whole time. Which is what he intends to do. Go back and then tell the story. Which is what happened. Summarizing it as, so they wish to be left alone. I do think I made some headway, but I don't think we would gain anything from staying here.
I want to rephrase what you, or like re-say what you said, Demos.
He'll tell what we talked about, and then he'll end with summarizing it as, it seems there's little reason for us to stay here. The
I'm
dragon
back.
said,
Sorry.
let us return home. They do not want us here, and
Amnesia nods. There's,
I do not
Mhm.
think these things are still too fresh for this to develop positive. I did speak to them though, and they did tell me the answers we came for.
Yes, you did. I think as well as anyone could have expected with the circumstances.
I can, at very least, point Echo in the direction it was digging. You can investigate from there.
Yes, especially if she hasn't made herself known as your subordinate. I still think it's very important that we investigate what that Red was doing, but having her do it in our place is probably the tactical move.
If someone goes here, you must get their permission. This is their home, their land.
Mhm. It sounds like she's already ingratiated herself with some locals, so keep doing that, I suppose.
If that's the case, then he hasn't actually really. He doesn't know her at all.
Mm.
She doesn't know what she's all about. Yeah. Again, he told the others what they're talking about, right? You can consider yourself to know what happened there.
Yeah. Demos notices that if he's like struggling for a thing, like Darius is reminding him, like the next point.
So,
But he lets you tell it from your perspective.
I'll say that he said that he would. Demo said, I told them I would not visit them again unless invited. I intend to uphold that. And Darius, I think it is better if you do not utilize the portal you did.
I agree. There's a few things I need it for, and I've done all but one. The last being to rescue Kira. I can't make any promises, though, but I understand and agree with what you said there.
They will likely be watching the spot that you appeared at.
Then I'll have to make sure I'm invisible if I ever must do so, and if I can absolutely avoid it, then I will.
Yours doesn't answer. He frowns slightly at Darius' duplicitous nature, but Darius does get results at times, so what he must to do?
Well,
It's not like Darius on his command. And
that's the thing. Yeah, Demos is
Darius
the heart, and
do something,
yeah.
then Darius would simply say, "Sure, I won't do it," and then do it anyway. He must has the full knowledge that he has no way to control what Darius does.
Demos, we are allies. We've been on this together from the beginning. I'm not going to lie to you.
He does not.
The reason I gave you the answer that I did is because I don't want to deceive you.
No. I understand. But
I know it's perhaps not one you might have liked, but it was honest.
he says, "I know." He looks at Darius. Not offensively. It's like, yeah, he knows that Darius is like. It's like if he asked Darius to promise him something, Darius might just say no, and not promise him something because he doesn't want
Yeah.
to break. And that's, yeah. What can he do, right? He must feels like he's obligated to do his best, though. So Darius that they made it very clear that he's not welcome.
Mhm.
There's a blood debt there. But,
Oh, and if that dragon is dead, then yes, we have nothing else to worry about until something else tries to visit that same spot, recover what the first red might have been after.
I don't think the first. I think we have it backwards.
Hmm?
It was acting erratic, moving into places it did not know. Well, the one thing that every move it made did was take it further away from the sea. I think whatever happened, it saw something that might come to happen in the sea and decided that it would get as far away from water as possible. These plains are as far away from water as you can get. And digging into the earth, I suppose that's the next step if you still do not feel safe in these plains.
That's not impossible. The thought that I had is that the first red perhaps knows of something we do not that could help it free itself from the Kraken's lair since it failed to convince us to do so. If so, I would want to know what that is. If we, or Echo or whoever, investigated that and found nothing, then yes, your suggestion is probably correct, but can't know until we look.
It's just not considering this. Then he looks to Darius. You said before that we should prepare for Mitros one day. And though it may be over my dead body falling. If that is the case, it may be that our enemy is not one from the land, but from the sea. One day it might be that Astoria is a wall, not against the plains, but against the land we once called home. I want these centaurs and us to have as good of a relationship as possible, because one day we might have to rely on their hospitality.
A smart move. It's a
I hope
fine needle to thread.
I hope it never comes. Ever. But and he sort of he doesn't say it, but I think it's clear that the vision he saw at the Sphinx Isle from the Looking Glass is still with him. He saw it, and though he has done, he defeated Kentamane, we stopped the Titans. So many things that wanted to end Mitros, were stopped because of his actions, because their actions, right? But
Oh, it was
he
pretty clear from how fervently he was in his denial of it, right?
still can't forget it, right?
Mhm.
Still there, and it doesn't bother him in the same way. Like, he doesn't wake him up at night, but still remembers, and he will always remember the sight of his home and everything he ever loved broken and shattered. And like, this does not seem like he does not think this will happen, right? He's not going to build a highway to Astoria hoping to one day transport everyone from Mitros there. But if it does, being on good terms with the Centaurs will be one of the most important things for something like that to be feasible. And right now, all that takes is not insulting them.
Mm.
In fact, he considers going here, talking to them, and showing that he respects what they tell him they want to be a positive in and of itself.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, Sheep, that we are walking as we leave too, just to
Yeah, it makes
continue
sense.
that train of thought.
We'll return to his wow, excursion. And probably report to the queen here, like, what happened. Give her the report.
Mhm.
Though it might not be of great interest, it's something of what's going on out there. And Demas will tell her that he intends to keep as good of a relationship with them as possible, as at all possible. Yeah.
I think if Demos like recounts the entire meeting, at the point where he will explain that the centaur then turned into a flaming bird, we'll make Honora chuckle thinking that he's joking.
It is no, not a small one. Sort of a dragon-sized bird made of fire. He looks at us, and it is far from the strangest things I've seen. And then fall into some other story of something insane. A hydra or I mean the Kraken itself, right?
Yeah.
Eutheria's barge. He has stories.
Strangest thing that Honora almost saw was a basilisk.
Mhm. And then at some point he stops talking and just looks at it and says, "Do you think you could?" And or if invaders came from the south, would Astoria be able to hold them as easily as from the north?
Astoria is built to be a bulwark towards the north. The construction, everything, it's not symmetrical.
Once. It might just be. So she says, "It." Could I ask for my personal? He says, "I don't even know what word it would be." And Nora, I have seen a lot. That's probably evident. I have fought Titans, Elder Titan, and out there in the plains, I had a hunch. Would it be possible to prepare Historia just in small ways to resist something coming from the south as well as from the north?
suppose changes could be done, but to the
Addition-
south. I'm assuming that you don't mean Mitros is going to attack Astoria.
He shakes his head. No, no. There are large creatures around the world, massive beings, and I think you'll even say it. Some of these creatures are beyond the power of Kentimane. And for some reason, many of them see Mitros as a target. And what I worry is that one day something grand might come from Mitros, something that might be beyond my ability to fight. The new Dragonlords may have to simply hold it back, allowing my people of Mitros, our people even, to escape, and they will escape to Astoria. If whatever follows them comes here, I would not want Astoria to simply be a repeat of what happened in Mitros. This place is renowned for its fortifications, its the ability of its people to struggle and fight. If I could win time so that Astoria might have a chance in such a scenario, then I would. It's of course nothing confirmed, just preparation for a thing I hope would never come to.
There's no construction that could possibly protect the city against a force like or stronger than Kentimane.